Hey guys, it's Maymay. I promise it is. I know my voice sounds different, but I'm fighting off a head cold, and it may be winning. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, we're going to keep on crafting and see if it makes us feel any better. Today I'm going to make a canvas, but I'm actually using two to make one. I'm probably going to do something that might freak some folks out. I do not know. But I really wanted a thicker canvas, and these are just those simple, thin canvases you get from everywhere. And I bought a 6-pack of these on some clearance rack somewhere at some point in time. And I want it to be thick like this. And so I'm going to do a little adjusting to make that happen. And if this is not your favorite way of doing this, you can just buy the thicker canvas and that'll be fine. But I am that person who likes to use what I've got, and these are in my cabinet, so we're going to make them work. I also received some beautiful flowers in different packages from folks who send me things lots of times so I can use it. And I don't use a lot of flowers in my crafting, but for some reason this idea has popped in my head and I cannot get it out, so we're going to put it on canvas and get it out, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with one of these guys first, and I'm going to, I know this is the part that's going to make you cringe, I'm going to cut this canvas away. Now listen, if you wanted to do an exploding canvas, check this out. I don't know if you've seen exploding canvases before, but you could take this one and glue it to this one, you know, facing each other. Okay, and then you could cut this out and explode it, and that would be a cool canvas that you could do, but I'm not doing an exploding one. I'm going to use this to my advantage, okay? I'm going to come right inside here, and I'm going to cut out this canvas that's in here all the way around. My dull little blade cut that right away. That's good, because I need a new blade, something awful. Spoke too soon. No, I didn't. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this canvas out, which we're going to use it. It's not going to be wasted. I am going to use this canvas on this project. So never fear. I will use it. Almost got it. Okay. Now then I'm left with this frame, which you could use if you just needed a frame. There you go. There's a good way to get a frame. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on, and the reason is it's already nice and clean back here, and I won't have to do anything to clean it up. If I took that off, I might have to clean up my boards, and plus, I don't know if you've ever stretched a canvas before, but the canvas itself kind of gives it stability, and I'd hate to kind of get into the foundation of that. Although I took all this out, it's still pretty, you know, wrapped and kind of snugly done, so I'm going to leave that right there. Now I'm going to come back, and I'm going to take my hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue these guys together, okay? You could run a nail or a screw through those if you wanted to, but I think hot glue is going to work just fine. So let me get my hot glue gun. I'm going to need a lot of hot glue for this project, so I'm just going to put some of here to the side and add some to my gun. And I'm going to run right up here, and I'm just going to run this bead of glue all the way around. Now, eventually, or when it's all said and done, this will not be what holds this project together. So you can see I'm kind of just slopping a kind of thin line down. Got my cord in the way down here. Because eventually, I'll have other pieces that help to hold it in place. But for now, we're going to stick this guy on here and sink them together. And now I'm going to have one of those rich, thick looking canvases. I'm just too cheap. Is that what it is? I'm too cheap. Oh well. These are so cheap. I had them for a long time too, and I've been wanting to do something with them. I just thought, I am not going to spend the money on another canvas when I can just do that. Alright, but this is not very pretty, right? Because I don't really care for this section showing like that. So that's where this canvas is going to come in handy. I am going to cut strips and wrap it around, all the way around, to kind of seal that shut. And all that's going to do is seal this edge for me, and I'm still going to put more on it, but for now that'll make it kind of nice and neat. So I'm just going to cut some strips. How wide do these need to be? I'm going to use my cutting board to measure. That's an 1 3/4 inches. Should do it. I'm just going to tell you, I'm very cloudy today. My brain is not cooperating because I'm so stopped up. So if I get crazy or say anything stupid, I apologize. Like I think I cut that strip too short because of my brain. A little bit. We'll figure it out. Hey, crafting through a cold, if you can do this, you can do anything, right? These strips obviously I'm going to have to kind of piece them together. And I'm probably going to use the hot glue because I need to have the, you know, the time. I need it to be kind of quick because of the canvas thickness. If I was using Mod Podge, which I plan to use in a little bit, but if I use Mod Podge for these, they're not going to stick in place quickly enough. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and use that my hot glue for it. And I know this brings it up really close to you guys if I do it like that. So you'll probably get a combination of bringing it up close to you and laying it down. So let's get our strip of canvas. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do first is take my hot glue and put it here in the top. And I'm going to run some in this seam a little bit, just to get us started there. Then bring my piece of canvas over and lay that down into that hot glue. I must have my glue on the low setting because I didn't even feel that and I stuck my hand right in it. Alright, let's just keep on going. Now remember, this is not really part of the art process. This is more a part of me trying to be cheap. Because I just didn't want to have to buy anything else. I just wanted to be able to do this with what I had in my stash. You know, lots of times you'll have a bunch of stuff or you'll buy stuff on clearance and think, I'm going to use that one day, and not really know what for. This was exactly what this is. I had these canvases and I bought them so cheap and I thought, one day I'm going to need those. I'm just going to go ahead and have them in my stash. And this is a perfect way to use them up. By the way, if you're wondering, this is the hot glue gun I got for Christmas, which I have done a review on, and I am still loving it. Everything about it I love. I do occasionally get some dripping out of the nozzle, and I have discovered that I am part of the problem with that because I like to squeeze a hot glue gun, the nozzle all the way down. And on this one, if I squeeze it about halfway, then it kind of sucks back up in it the glue that I don't use instead of forcing it out. So there's kind of a little learning curve there with that. I'm not going to try to, well, maybe you can see it. I didn't want to get that right in your face, so I'm sorry if it is, but there is a little learning curve. So instead of pressing this all the way down, I just kind of press it about halfway each time and then release. I still get a good bead of glue, but that way it doesn't seem to feed out at all. And even when it does feed out, it's barely any, just a little bit. And just because of my habit with hot glue guns and how poorly they always are, I keep a silicone mat under it anyway. So I never just sit it on my surface. Okay, this dude's heating up now because I can feel it underneath. I must have just started too quick. I can feel it under my fingers. Alright, I'm going to keep doing that. Just wrap this around and then we'll deal with this free edge. So I'm back to the beginning, and what I'm going to do is just cut this away and then glue down that very last little bit. There we go. And I want to show you, this is the only strip I had left. So see, there's no waste. You feel better about that? I do. Because I really, I didn't know how much I would have left, but it wasn't very much. Now I have a couple options. I can go through and glue this down, just like I've been doing. Just wrap it around and glue it. Or I can just cut it off and not worry about it. But I think it won't be much to glue down, so I think I'm just going to run some glue and glue it. It'll probably be a lot easier to just glue it in place than it would be to try to cut it really neatly. So let's just do this and just see. This is trial and error for me. Have not done this before, so I'm learning. And see, that laid down really nicely. So let's do this side. I'll do a little kind of a miter corner here. Kind of push that down and let that dry, and then we'll come back to that edge. Now I'm going to do this side over here. And this canvas is a very inexpensive canvas, but this makes it feel much more expensive. To me it does anyway, because it's that thicker, really popular now. Right now it feels much thicker and much nicer. And I'm not really worried about how this is looking yet, even though it's really not looking very bad, because I'm going to cover it. Okay, so you can see the front of the canvas, the side, you can still see that little free edge, don't worry about that, and then the back. So we got a thick canvas, and all we did was kind of create it ourselves. Don't worry about these guys because we're fixing to fix those. That's a southern thing. I'm fixing to take care of them. And let me show you how we're going to do it. So I have some white tissue paper, and I want some texture in the background, and what better way than to use tissue paper, right? And we're going to do it by using Mod Podge this time instead of hot glue. So I'm going to, I don't even care if that's all wrinkled up. That works fine for me. And let me move my hot glue gun completely out of the way so I don't stick my arm on it. But we can go straight into our Mod Podge. I'm out of my matte finish, so I'm going to use my gloss because I'm not worried about it. You're not going to see it anyway. So I'm going to pour some onto my matte. This gloss finish is runnier than my matte finish. So I'm going to tilt the matte and kind of let it help me do this. And I want a good bit of Mod Podge because I want this to really stick. And I'm going to run it to those edges that we created with the canvas and try to get it to sink down in there a good bit too. And I'm going to wrap this tissue all the way around. I should have picked up a bigger brush, but hindsight. And I don't really mind if the Mod Podge leaves, I want texture. So I don't mind if there's kind of a Mod Podge trail underneath the tissue paper, if that makes sense. If there's brush strokes left in there, that does not bother me. What bothers me is this head cold. Okay. Here we go. Nice and fun. Plop this down. Wherever it lands is what we get. I'm even going to wrinkle it up some more. I can feel the Mod Podge through it. Perfect. I like those wrinkles. Those look good. Now I'm going to come back with my paintbrush and just kind of clean off the brush with what's on it. I'm not even worried about sealing it really because I'm going to paint this. So I'm really just trying to work this into that Mod Podge underneath. I ripped that, but it won't matter. It'll probably look really cool. So again, I'm just looking for texture. And I thought I was going to do this no matter what my canvas looked like, and I thought, you know what, this will really help those edges stay sealed down well too. Alright, I need to let this dry so I can flip it over and work on the edges, and that's one thing I like to do is kind of let things dry in between. So I'll let this dry and I'll come back and we will work on those edges. Have I ever told you guys that I'm super impatient? What I did was I took my heat tool and I just kind of heated up the front of it with my heat tool and got it pretty dry, and then I put it onto some wax paper, which is underneath there now. And now I'm going to take the Mod Podge in my brush and I'm going to brush this Mod Podge around the edges and bring that tissue paper up. What I'm doing on the corners is just kind of pulling it up and acting like it's a gift, you know, just wrapping that like a present. So there's that side. I'm going to turn this. You guys might be able to see better this time around. So I'm Mod Podging. Heavy again like I was. You don't have to go heavy if you don't like heavy Mod Podge, but I do. It takes a lot of the work out because when it just kind of grabs that tissue and goes with it. And no one's going to know this was 2 small canvases when this is done because it's going to be nicely sealed together. Don't pull on your tissue paper. The reason is it will come loose because you got it wet on the front. So those edges are pretty weak at this point. So don't pull on it. Just lift it up and then push those wrinkles in. This is where I come back with more Mod Podge and kind of do that corner, the gift fold there on the corners. Turn it again and do this section. Now because I have this wax paper around the side, I'm going to take this and just kind of press it into place and then pull the wax paper off, and that will really go through and seal down those edges onto that Mod Podge. So just lifting up the wax paper, keeping my hand clean this way, and then pulling it down. I know it looks like a mess. I promise. These things have to look bad before they look better. So there we go. Now while that's doing its thing and drying, I'm going to go ahead and seal this tissue down in the back as well. It will just be easier to do that than to try to cut it away neatly, and then it'll wrap around the edge nice. So I'm going to come right here and paint and stick down, paint and stick down. It'll just look better, I promise, because you won't have that sloppy edge where you tried to tear it away. There's one thing about mixed media canvas projects: you can play and have fun, and you don't really even have to worry about anything, because all the stuff you're going to put on top of it, your paints and your ephemera pieces and anything that you're going to add to it, are going to really bring it the class level up, so you don't have to worry about this stuff too much. These are basically just tools for getting your texture in and, you know, the feel that you're looking for on your canvas. I'm not going to make you guys watch this. I'm going to cut away, and I'll be back when it's all done. So I've dried this with the heat gun pretty good. It's not perfect. These places where I have it on really thick are still kind of bubbly, and they will probably take a good long time to cure. But again, back to the impatience-ness of me, I'm just going to keep working. This is a brand new bottle of some Sailing Sky Craft Smart Blue. I think it is pretty. And I don't even know what flowers I'm going to use yet. I do know I want to use this color on my background, so that's why we're starting with it. I'm going to put a big old blob out here to the side of paint. And I'm using the same brush. I washed it out while I was also waiting on some dry time. So the reason I don't want to pour my paint straight to my canvas is because this is tissue that's still a little damp in places. And I'm going to kind of, not dry brush it, but I'm not going to like slop it on. I want to kind of keep those wrinkles intact as much as I can. So I'm going to do a full coverage. I just don't want to rip and tear by getting it even wetter on top. So I'm just going to kind of work this color around. Like I said, I want full coverage. I'm going to come back and accentuate those wrinkles later. So for now, I want to make sure I get my blue everywhere. Again, not something I'm going to make you watch me do. I'm going to cover this in blue paint all over. And then I'm going to hit it with my heat tool to get it to be nice and dry. And that's another reason I'm not doing a really thick layers, because it'll save me on drying time. And then we'll come back and it'll be time to start distressing this bad boy. So see you in a few. Okay guys, how bad does this look? Remember I told you it has to look bad before it looks better. Remember that? We had this conversation. And it looks, rough. It looks like a messy, look, there's even some white showing. It looks like a messy, messy thing. But before we finish, it's going to look great. It is time to distress it, as if it's not distressed enough. You could leave it like this if you wanted to and just have the wrinkles. But I love the wrinkles, but it's not what I'm going for. I really want that distressed, almost like we do when we ink a card. When we ink the edges, I want it to look like that. Now, I'm going to do this with some brown paint. This is Chocolate Brown by Anita's All Purpose. I got this one at Hobby Lobby for $2.99. I probably didn't pay $2.99 because, you always buy paint when it's on sale because you can get major, major deals. So, I'm using the same brush. What kind of brush is this? This is a 10. This is a round number 10. The reason I like this brush is where it meets the ferrule, it's really, really firm, but at the bottom, the tip is real easy to maneuver. So if I want to get into a specific spot, I can, but if I want to lay it to the side, I can do that as well. So I like this brush. I don't know a lot about paintbrushes, but I do know I like this one. So, to dry brush, if I stick my brush in this paint and load it up and go straight to my canvas, it's going to just color in everything, and it's not going to give me that distressed look I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is load my paintbrush, but then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to rub it off till it is almost dry. Now, it's very, very dry, okay, at this point. So when I put it to the canvas, I may find that I don't have enough paint. That's okay. It's better to have less than too much because you can always add. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit these pieces that are sticking up. I'm going to concentrate on these wrinkly areas. And what this does is it brings this texture out like nobody's business. And I'm going to bring you guys in and let you see this up close. Okay, so I've started in this area. Can you see that? I'm going over here and I'm loading my paintbrush and I'm drying it off really good. Remember, we can always add paint. You can't take it away. I'm holding it really loose to the side and I'm just barely scrubbing across the top of this canvas. There's lots of ways to dry brush. This is just the way I like to do it. You can use sponges. You could use ink and your ink tool. You really could do that, and it would be just fine. But this is just the way I find I like to do it. Can you see how that texture is starting to really show up now? So I'm dry brushing, getting it ready over there. Another thing you can do to ensure you don't overdo it is if you know you're going to have something on your canvas that's going to cover a particular area, start your brush in that area and work your way out. So the dark concentration will be under whatever you're putting on your canvas as far as, you know, the rest of your decorations go. And I know in the middle is where mine are going to go, so I'm kind of working my way out from it. And I'm going to keep doing this all the way around until I get the color and the distress that I want. That feels a little wet. I'm wiping it off on the side. Yep, it was. I'm glad I did that, because I would not have been happy about that one. But it's really bringing those wrinkles out and really knocking back that perfectly crisp blue, which is not what I was looking for. That was not the idea. I wanted the blue color, but I want it to look old and worn. Now, I've done a very light coat of distressing over the whole top, but I want to do some more. I want to go back to these edges and concentrate on them. And this time, I might keep my brush wetter, because now I'm really concentrating this color into areas, and so I want it to show even more. Still not wet, not enough to cover what I'm doing, you know, but enough to get in there and get me some pretty distress look on those edges. Alright, so while you guys weren't looking, I distressed the edges the same way, and I got some fresh wax paper around it so we could keep working. Now, one thing I really like is how this is coming along, but I want my distressing a little darker in some places. So I'm going to use another color a little darker. Now, I don't want to use black, and I don't want to use that same brown. But what I'm going to do is mix this guy up with some black. So let me slide this down a little bit. Well, I slid and nothing moved. Okay, I'm going to put a little black on my wax paper. I always use wax paper as a palette because I don't have to wash it. Isn't that lazy? That's just me. And I buy my wax paper at the Dollar Tree because I don't need anything fancy. Alright, so I'm going to take some brown. Well, let's start with some black on my brush. Then some brown. Mix it out here. And then keep on going. And you can mix this until you get the shade you want. Think about your distress inks. If you use distress inks and you know the colors, the shades that are your favorites, think about those. Those will help you to mix this paint like you like it. And that to me feels like one of my distress ink colors, so I'm going to go with that one. Clean my brush off a good bit. Get it kind of dry. It's really wet right now because I used, you know, I dipped in so much. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but this time, because I'm using a darker color, I'm going to concentrate on these edges more to start. Because I really want these edges to kind of pop. That's so pretty. I love it. This technique with the tissue paper, I don't know. I probably learned this in art when I was in high school. My art teacher was amazing, and she taught us all kinds of techniques back in the day, and I've been doing this as long as I can remember, and it kind of gives you a stone look, like you've got a piece of stone as your background, and I just love this look. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. See how pretty that is? I don't know if you can tell it so much in the camera. I hope you can, because I'm loving it. I'm just sitting here having a good old time. This is a good way to get the cold blues away. Knock away those sniffles is to craft. While I'm doing this, I want to talk to you guys about something. I have been given so many beautiful things from you guys. You send me stuff all the time. I got some more stuff in the mail this week. Just beautiful things. And I've had some people ask me if they could send me things just to say thank you, or if there was a crafting tool that I needed or anything. And not just one of you, which is so funny. I mean, that's how much you guys care about me, and I appreciate that so much. So many of you are wanting to send me things. Well, I love that, and I will never say no if you want to send me something to play with or anything. But some of my YouTube friends have set up these things called Patron accounts. And what they are is a place where if you want to support our channel, my channel financially, or their channels financially, you can go to Patreon and make a pledge for an amount of money of your choice. What I did, because I don't know much about this and I'm kind of just dipping my toe into it to see how it works, is I set up a Patreon account where you can do a monthly pledge of $1 or more if you decide. That's up to you. But $1. So if you pledge to me $1 on my Patreon account, what you'll get out of that is I will do a special tutorial just for you, just for my Patreon folks, and you will get notification of that tutorial when it heads up, and that'll be once a month that I'll do a special one for you. And a lot of you guys have asked me about doing live shows, and I want to do them, but there's some equipment that I need to make that happen that I don't have, and this Patreon would help me pay for that. So once I get to $50 a month in pledges, so if 50 people give $1 or whatever you want to do, then I'm going to buy that equipment with that 50 bucks, because I don't think it's going to cost much. I need like a webcam. And then I'll be able to do a live show for all of my Patreons first, and then I'll roll that out to everybody else. I think it'll only be fair to do that for the people who have paid for it basically first. There's a lot of new things coming along with that, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'll put a link below if you're interested. But I have wanted to make this YouTube my full-time career as long as I can remember. And I've been doing this for 3 years, and although I'm doing really well with my Google AdSense and things like that, if you know anything about that, all that works just like it should. You know, it is working. It's a slow process, and at this point I'm not making a salary doing this, so I will probably have to go back into the workforce. But if you guys are willing to donate, if 1,600 of you donated $1 a piece, that's my salary. I know that sounds crazy, and I'm not one to do this, but I have just been encouraged by so many people who are doing it, and they think I should try it. So we're going to try it. Please do not feel obligated. It is not about paying me to do this. I love to do it, and nothing here is going to change. I just thought I would put that out there, and if you guys want to support it, that is great. Back to our canvas, because that's what's important. So I've got the darker color. I really love how this looks now. I'm going to go ahead to the next step, even though I may do some more to the background, because I want to see what the cross, I'm going to do a flower cross on here, and I want to see what it's going to look like. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool again. I'm going to clean up this mess around it and pick out the flower, or not pick out, but bring out the flowers, and we'll move on. So here's something I never do. My paintbrush is wet, and I put down some paint, and I'm going to really wet that paint, and I'm going to do splatters. I never do that, but for some reason I feel like this painting could use it. So I'm going to work in this corner so it'll hit my wax paper. And to splatter, I'm going to tap my brush onto my finger, okay? So I'm just going to do this number right here. And those splatters are kind of just going everywhere. And I just think that is what this needed. A different texture in there. That looks cool. I'm going to turn it. Bring it back for you guys to see it. Load my brush again. And then splatter. Oh, this is fun. It's getting everywhere. This is why I don't splatter, because I just don't like the mess. But I think that looks really cool. If you don't want to hit your finger, let me show you something. You can just take any old tool you got and tap that, and you get the same feel, and you're not having to use your fingers. Now, I like that, but I think I want it to be a little darker, so I'm going to add a little black to it. I'm going to get this just like I want it. You ever do that? Just have to work with something until it's exactly what you want it to be. That's what I'm having to do. I want those splatters to be a little bit darker. Something like that. Yep, because you can really see those. To me, that's beautiful. I love it. I'm going to dry that and we'll move on. So now I have my box of flowers. You see all these flowers? So many of these were sent to me by you guys. Judy Garner sent me a whole bunch, and just a bunch of different people. And I have been dying to get my hands in here and use these, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I'm going to bring these guys out. Look how pretty those will be on that canvas. And I'm just going to check color real quick. I love those on here too. And quite possibly some peach. Now, it's going to seem weird because I'm using a bunch of different colors, but I think this is going to work. What I'm going to do, because these packages are loud, is I'm going to open these up and get them loose, and then we'll get to gluing. Alright, I have all the flowers over here, and I also have my hot glue gun here now. One thing I'm not going to do is use this stem that's on the back, so I'm going to use some of my wire snippers and snip those off. But I don't want to snip off a whole bunch of them because I don't know what I'll be using these for in the future. So I'll probably just snip a few as I go, like lay them out and snip them. That way I know I'm not wasting those in case I ever need those little sticks for anything. Alright, the plan is to turn these flowers into a cross. And I want you guys to be able to see all of it. I think you'll be able to see it pretty good. I want the top to start here. Yeah, you can see that. The top will start there. And I think what I'm going to do is take this dark color that I just love and just kind of lay them out. Like there's the top of the cross. This will be where my where it crosses over, you know, the middle part. And then I'm going to let these kind of be my guide. You could do a stencil, or you could do like a template if you needed to. You could just, you know, print out a cross. That would be awesome. Ooh, those little guys are flying. And I'm going to open these out because I want that green to show anywhere it can. So something like that there. And then let's just see if I have enough to go across as well. And this guy that can go in this area. So I didn't cut that one off very good. I'll just lay it down. And then one over here. These are not the same color, so I think I'll switch this one over here and use this one in the middle. Just because it's not exactly the same. It's a more red. So this gets me the basic shape of my cross, okay? So when I put these guys down, I know that I'm going to fill in between them. So like these flowers will go in between, and I'm going to crush them in together. But what I want to do is glue these down first, because I want them to be dried, so when I start to crush the other flowers in, they will move around like I need them to without coming loose. So just stick this guy in place. I hope this turns out good. It's just been in my head. And you know how sometimes you get a thought in your head, but putting it on canvas is another thing. And that's kind of how I feel about this. It's just been floating around. And I looked online to kind of get some inspiration, like through Pinterest or something. And I didn't see anything exactly like this, but I did see where people were doing some really cool stuff with crosses and canvases. So if you need inspiration, there's lots of stuff on Pinterest out there. I didn't pin anything, but there is lots of stuff out there. It doesn't look like much now, but just give it a few minutes and let's see what happens. I keep looking into the monitor and thinking, I don't know. But I'm going to give it a few minutes. I'm going to stick with it and just see if this works. Stick these guys in place good. Okay. I'm going to look back in my monitor because that helps me to line things up. I feel like that one's not poking down, not sticking down. And see how I'm just kind of pulling the green out? I want the green to show wherever it will because I think that really gives us another layer of color to have those little green pieces poking out. I'm looking in the monitor and lining that up. That feels good. Now let's put a brown one in here and there. I'm going to do just what I just did. I'll fast forward it and I'll just keep going so you can watch what I'm doing. But that way you won't have to stick around for the boring part. I'm going to move this flower out of the way and squish that one in there like so. I like how that looks. These flowers are perfect for this. Doesn't that look pretty already? Is this just me? Is this coming through? I hope it is. You guys be honest with me and let me know. These flowers, I'm not sure. Let me see what kind they are. I don't know what they are. It says 20 mixed red tea roses, which I think are these guys right here. These may be Prima or another company. Judy, if you're watching, let us know what kind of flower these are, because I'm sure people are going to want to know. I'm checking for straight to make sure it's straight. And now, do I want to add blue? I think the blue doesn't work. Let me see if I want to add white. The white is really pretty. Let's see what this peach looks like. I like the peach. And here's a bright red. And here's another red. I think I'm going to do Let me see what a white here and there looks like, especially if I tuck it in. Let me see what happens. I won't glue it to start. I'll just lift and tuck. I better not do the last one I did. It might come loose. This is kind of what I'm thinking to get it down in there really good. Something like that. I kind of like it and I kind of don't. I'm not sure about that, so let's try a small rose. Yep, I like that better. I'm going to take some of these guys and fill in some gaps with it. With these little ones, and they're peach colored. Which still seems to be working. Which was really something I wanted to do. I wanted to intermingle different colors that really didn't go. Because I'm not big on that. I'm such a matchy-matchy person that I thought this would be a good way to step outside my box. I really like how the peach roses look. They kind of give it a different dimension. This is one of those projects that if you get the glue strings, you'll definitely want to go back with your heat tool and melt them away. And it shouldn't hurt this project at all. You know, sometimes you might be leery to do that because of the materials that you've used, and I understand that totally, because I would be too. But I think this one would be fine to hit it with your heat tool or even your blow dryer, because your blow dryer will get hot enough for these little baby spider webs. You know what I'm saying? Alright, I cut some of these peach ones away and went ahead and bent the backs down so I could work quicker. So that way I wouldn't have to cut away so much. I really like how this is turning out. You know, you just don't know. You just got to try it. You get something in your head and you're not sure. You just got to try it. What can it hurt, right? These canvases were just in my cabinet not being used anyway. I'm going to put that one there too to give it some dimension at the top of that cross. Or actually give it some shape. I like that idea. What other shapes could you think of to do this with? Because I could think of other shapes. You could do a bunny shaped out of flowers. You could do a basket. Wouldn't it be cute if the basket was made out of flowers? I think that would be super cute. I was also sent these little leaves, and these are 100 green rose leaves, 25 millimeter. And if you're interested, they have a SKU number or a number on there, so you could look those up. I'm going to take these guys all apart here. And I'm just going to take this bottom portion and just fold that little wire up on itself just one time and let that kind of be the place that grabs the hot glue. And I'm going to glue these and kind of do this like I was doing, like if I was doing flower arranging. Just kind of tuck these here and there just for another layer of texture. Tell you what, I'm going to bend a bunch of these and then we'll come right back. Got a bunch of them bent. We'll see if this is enough. I really like how they look poking in and out here and there. Just to kind of break up the perfectly straight lines of the cross. Isn't this a neat idea for Easter? I mean, it's not a bunny, which I have done. I've been on a bunny kick like crazy. It's not eggs. It's still good for Easter, I think. I think I'm going to need some more of these little leaves because I like the way they're looking. I love these leaves. I really like how they kind of stepped it up. Took it to a different level. I used 2 little bundles, so I'm guessing that's about 20 or 25 of them. Put that one in there. What do you think? I think that looks really good. I do think it needs one more thing. Hang on. Now this is where I might lose some of you guys. This is glitter glue in a tube, okay? And I'm going to use some of it to put a little shimmer here and there. I'm not going to puddle it. I'm going to rub it on, okay? So I'm going to start it a little bit out here. Yep. Make sure it's working. And then I'm just going to rub it in places just so it catches the light. Can you hear me scrubbing it? I'm literally scrubbing on top of the flower so I don't get entire, you know, pieces of glitter. I just want the hint of glitter. Just think it needed a little shimmer because it seemed to get a little flat on me. And I want you to be sure you hear me that I'm scrubbing it to try to not leaving, not doing like if we were doing stickles and we were leaving, you know, lines of the glitter. I'm rubbing it onto the leaves. You could even do this with a Q-tip if you, you know, put some of this on your Q-tip and rubbed it around. But I think this is really adding just exactly. These flowers were really, really matte, which is beautiful. But I think this is giving them a little bit of life. And in pictures, you'll be able to see it really well. If you had glitter spray, oh, that would be perfect. Of course, that would get on your canvas too, where this is being really specific and I'm getting it right where I want it. You know, I could see this at Christmas, done in Christmas colors. That would be so pretty. I'm kind of glittering up those little centerpieces. Yep, that is what this needed. It needed the shimmer and the shine. So there you go, guys. That is the craft for today. I hope you like it. I really think it turned out beautiful. One thing I would probably do when I finish is flip this over and run some ribbon along this backside just to clean that up. But that's really all I do is just kind of hot glue some ribbon down. And then it is ready to go. I love it. Tell me what you think. Now, guys, if you're interested in my Patreon account, like I told you earlier, just head over to Patreon. All the little information is on there for you. And I have more of these flowers left. So if you'd be interested in winning one of these, guys, here's what we'll do. If for all my Patreons for this month's video, that is a private video for Patreons, I'll do another one of these in a video. And I'll give it away to everyone who signed up to be a patron. How about that? I think that'll be fun. Give us something to look forward to. Remember, you do not have to do the Patreon. It is just if you want to. And I just like to give an incentive to those who are doing it, just like I do you guys, where I give, you know, I do the video tutorials of these things. And I do need to go blow dry this guy. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are feeling good. I'm going to get to feeling better too. And I will see you on Friday for some more crafty fun. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.